I've never seen anything like this. On top of that, you should know that Senator Warren negotiated with the White House. She negotiated with the White House on this bill. So it wasn't just us, our side of Capitol Hill. She actually negotiated with the White House.
And
that's why it passed.
Waters on the House side, yeah.
Yeah, and on the House side. And so, you know, this bill was going to help people. It was also going to keep large equity businesses from buying up all of the middle-class homes that, you know, first home buyers are trying to buy, so that you actually have access to them. And now he's stopping it. He's derailed the whole thing, refuses to sign the bill because he wants to make it harder for Americans to vote.
It's actually insane.
Yeah.
He's literally trying to hold us hostage, and he is telling us very clearly what he cares about. Senator Tim Kaine was here yesterday, and Michael asked him a very good question about what his maybe hope is for, you know, if you all take back the Senate. And he said he laid something out that I thought was very profound, and to play it out today. He essentially said that there are very few things that Donald Trump cares about. So on those things that he cares about, okay, you can't really talk to him about those things. But all these other things is up for fair game. And so it was his belief that potentially, if Democrats take back the Senate in this next Congress, there will be some things that Donald Trump will be willing to sign. This housing bill, frankly, is an example of that. But today, he told us what he cares about. He cares about restricting access to the ballot box. He cares about ensuring that women like myself, whose passport does not match my birth certificate, whose doesn't match my driver's license, because I took my husband's last name, wouldn't be able to vote. He is trying to attack citizenship from every single way here, and he is willing to literally throw the American people to the side. Affordability is the #1 thing folks care about.
It is. It is.
This is crazy.
He's already made gas prices too expensive. He's also zeroed out the funding request for LIHEAP, which is a low-income heating program that senior citizens rely on. And let me go back to what you said about you not being able to vote. If you have a different name on your birth certificate than is on your driver's license, you cannot vote. And so for the 69 million American women who took their husbands' names, you cannot vote. That birth certificate is not valid. By the way, military IDs will not be valid for you to be able to vote. Neither will your real ID. You know, all that time we all went back and got that new real ID with the star on it.
$45 at the airport now if you don't have it.
Well, you know what? That doesn't qualify anymore. So you have to go in with a passport that matches your current ID. And you know how hard it is to get a passport? I mean, #1, it's expensive. And #2, there's such a backlog in the State Department. Some people are waiting 3 months, 6 months to get a passport. And so think about the 69 million American women who married and took their husbands' names. You can no longer vote under the SAFE Act. And so that is what he's doing. He wants this. And in order to have this, in order to have housing for young Americans, you know, young people who want to buy their first home, who don't see home ownership as being something that they can achieve, he's going to hold women who are married and took their husbands' names hostage.
It is very clear, Senator, Donald Trump is the killer of bipartisan efforts, the killer of good ideas in governing, in governance. He did it on immigration.
Yes.
He killed the efforts on immigration.
24 hours before we were going to vote for
He's done it on health care. He's killed the efforts on health care. And now he's killed the efforts on housing. America, wake the hell up. Because of Donald Trump, you do not have access to the full band of healthcare opportunities and options that you need. You don't have access to housing, as the senator noted, where you can actually afford to go and purchase and not be in competition with a conglomerate that's trying to buy up every house on the block. But at the core of all of this, for me, still remains voting. Because
we have an election coming up.
The voting piece is critical. Yes. I want to let you listen to the Postmaster General regarding why the U.S. Postal Service won't deliver mail ballots if states don't hand over your voting identification information.
So yes or no, if a state refuses to turn their absentee voter list over to the federal government, will the Postal Service still mail their ballots under this proposal route?
Under our proposed regulation, no. We would tell the state that we need the manifest in order to, look, what we're asking for.
That's the answer. You'd tell no. So the proposed rule basically coerces states to conform to these new requirements and hand over their absentee voter rolls or face the consequences of not being able to vote by mail.
Senator, that is the core of this. They want to insert themselves in the prerogative of the states that is given to them under the Constitution of the United States, which they don't give a rat's ass about.
They do not. And this is President Trump is a man who's never defended the Constitution of the United States, and he doesn't have a single member of his family serving in uniform to defend this nation, and yet he wants to take the liberties and freedoms away from everyone else. And remember that the federal government messes things up, and it's hard to get things fixed. So if they take over our voter rolls and start to just delete people off of those voter rolls because, you know, you have the same name as someone else who died, good luck trying to get yourself back on those voter rolls, right? You know, I deal all the time in constituent services with people who, you know, have been declared dead by the government, and they spend 6 months to a year trying to get their Social Security check again. And so this is about disenfranchising voters, but it's also really, really dangerous because this is fundamentally against our democracy. Every American has the right to vote. You should be able to vote. It should be an easy thing for you to vote. I mean, they're trying to make it as difficult as possible because they want only the wealthiest people in this country who can afford to have a passport, who can afford to pay the fees to go and vote.
Senator, real quickly, Iran, it caused a blow-up in the Senate side lunch today with Senator Cassidy and Donald Trump getting into it because Congress flexed its muscle. Congress said, hey, we are the body that can declare war. We are not in favor of this war. Do you see any change coming in the near term? It's clearly losing popularity on the Republican side.
Well, it's never been popular. Donald Trump ran on the platform that he was not going to start any more wars and that he was going to put America first. And, you know, the deal he's making with Iran right now
I'm looking for where that's happening.
He wants to put $200 billion to rebuild Iran, and yet I can't get an additional $26 billion to rebuild our air traffic control system to help Americans fly more safely in our airspace. You know, he won't. 1 in 5 people in SNAP had their SNAP benefits cut and are now hungry. You know, people on Medicaid are now no longer able, many of them no longer to get Medicaid. And so he wants to rebuild Iran before he wants to rebuild America. And so, yeah, I would be, you know, if I were the average American, I'd be pissed off, too.